Hi again then guys, and welcome to episode 46 of Weekend Warriors, the review series for GranTurismo's sports car lineup. And this particular sports car is a much more traditional idea of a sports car. 2 doors, 2 seats, rag top, front engine, rear wheel drive, decent amount of power, not much weight, and a fairly reasonable price. And it's actually one of my personal favourite sports cars in the game. It's the oldest TVR model to be featured on GranTurismo, and if memory serves, it's actually the oldest TVR to be featured in any GranTurismo game. And the vehicle in question is, of course, the TVR V8S. This is actually one of my personal favourite TVRs in real life as well. I like the back-to-basics, simple style that it has compared to much more cluttered modern sports cars. TVR has always had a very good way of making kind of a design which is the essence of a sports car without really needing much addition made to it. They don't need big wings and body kits and intakes. They do sometimes make models which have that, such as the Sagaris or some newer versions of the Chimera or the Tuscan, but in general, they don't. They have very smooth, simple designs. The Tuscan, the Cerberus, even this car, the V8S, to some degree, has that simple silhouette which just instantly is recognisable as a TVR and does the job of what a sports car should look like. And the thing, of course, with a TVR is that you know pretty much right from the get-go that regardless of how old or new it is, you're pretty much guaranteed performance. All TVRs, some more than others of course, are fast cars, and this is no exception. The V8S is one of the lightest TVR models in the game. It only weighs 882 kilos with the full weight loss package. That's seriously impressive. That's lighter than most of the Le Mans prototypes in the game. And when you're packing a naturally aspirated 4-litre engine, the potential for performance is pretty good, to say the least. Now, you're putting out 451 horsepower from that engine, 428 pound-feet of torque, so pretty good numbers, and I would say that the torque is actually more impressive if you think about it than the power. Having that much torque and power in such a lightweight 2-door, 2-seater rear-wheel drive sports car, with all of its weight very low to the ground, that low centre of gravity, a relatively wide track, all of those combined give you the building blocks, really, of a potentially brilliant performance car. The horsepower per tonne is very good, as you'd expect, 511, and even the PP level when fully tuned isn't overly high. 548 is pretty high, but it's justified. It's definitely worthy of being that high, and although it's not necessarily a vehicle which is going to dominate everything, of course not, very few vehicles can, it is definitely a contender for being a very, very good choice of 500 plus PP vehicle. Anything from 500 and above, and you really get to use more of the full potential of a car like this. But, to be honest, even lower. The advantage of a lightweight sports car which has a naturally powerful engine anyway is that even when you reduce the power, it's generally still quite quick. And the fact that it's light means that you haven't got that excess weight, that excess baggage to be carrying around. So in effect, you're kind of getting 2 vehicles for the price of 1. You're getting the lightweight package which you would typically expect from a small super light sports car like a Lotus or a Ginetta or a Caterham, but those cars which typically don't have a huge amount of power, but then at the same time you're getting that high power and torque and sheer engine size that you would expect from a larger sports car, such as an Aston Martin or a Jaguar, and combining those two things together is one of the things that make TVRs so good, if of course you can tune them correctly and drive them correctly. TVRs are known in a similar way to other vehicles like the Cobra, the Stratos to some degree, and some other cars as well, as being challenging to drive. And although, yes, they're not the most beginner-friendly of sports cars, they're not as bad as people think they are. Most, if not all, TVRs will be very, very good track cars if you tune them properly, and even the Speed 12 can be made to be astonishingly quick around the track. So something like this, running less than half the power of a Speed 12, of course it's going to be fantastic. Now, the price on this vehicle is a fraction under 60,000 credits. That's really well priced for a sports car. It's not the cheapest of sports cars, but for what it offers, that is very good. It's unfortunately not a premium vehicle. Very few of the TVRs in the game are, and that's a shame. That's something which can be said about many of the cars on Gran Turismo, but what the V8S offers, and this is something which it would seem a lot of players still don't realise, is that it offers a package which manages to run the fine line between being very, very fun and also highly competitive. Because usually, if you really think about it, relatively few cars actually have both. There are vehicles which are very fun, but they're not necessarily always the quickest. Then you've got vehicles which may win most of the races that they're in, but maybe they're not quite as passionate. You very rarely have both, and that is something which I would say TVRs do very well. They are very traditional in the way that they approach performance, very old-fashioned, and in some ways, very American. The similarities between something like a TVR and something like anything up to the recent generation of Corvette, where they got more technical, or a Viper, for the most part, they are a very American style sports car. They go for big power, lower weight than you typically have in an American car, but they have that very back to basics, raw mechanical design ethos. And I love them for that. I love American sports cars for that same reason. And just like an American sports car, TVRs offer big performance for a comparatively low price. Now, the V8S is not quite as quick as some of the other TVRs in a straight line, but that being said, the top speed is still around or even over 230 with the right tuning, and the handling is shockingly good. It may even be the best handling TVR in the game. I would strongly suggest that it is. In my personal opinion, I would say that it is, but by the nature of handling, everyone has their own personal preferences, so I wouldn't set that in stone. For me, I would say that it suits my handling style the most out of all of the TVRs. It's light and loose, but at the same time playful. You can have a lot of fun with the car, and I actually use the V8S in a lot of seasonal events. It's a fantastic all-round sports car, and if you haven't tried one out, I would strongly recommend it. But that's it for this pick overall. I'll see you guys next time, and as always, thanks for watching.